What's up, Marvel fans? We're the Hills Maniacs, and today we're going to talk about Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, in the MCU, and what exactly she is doing. So, before we get started, though, there are spoilers for the Black Widow movie, and if you haven't seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier yet, this is also kind of a spoiler for that as well.
Right.
But as we've seen so far, this character, her full name, I guess, is she's a Contessa, so her full name is Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. I had to look that up because I cannot remember that, and that is a mouthful. Or she goes by Val, but don't call her Val. Yeah, this chick up here.
Yeah,
she's up here.
This side.
Yeah.
There it is.
She has shown up twice in the MCU so far. Once at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then, of course, in the end credits scene of Black Widow. If you haven't seen that, go check that out.
Black Widow was a good movie. We did just see
it was decent, so. I guess. But
I liked it.
She is basically... What it basically seems like she's doing is she's trying to recruit people to be like a sort of, I guess, like a new Avengers. Or in the comics, there was a Dark Avengers, so it looks like that's the route they're going with. Like, for example, she approached John Walker, Captain Scum America, as we like to call him.
This scumbag.
This guy. She approached him at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier and turned him into U.S. agent, basically gave him a red and black Captain America suit. He doesn't have a shield yet that we know of, but... She recruited him, and she also tried to recruit Yelena Belova at the end of Black Widow, and she tries to convince her to join, to take out Hawkeye. She tries to get her to kill Hawkeye because Hawkeye, quote unquote, killed Natasha.
I mean, technically, he was responsible for her death. They had to get the Soul Stone, and I would blame Red Skull. That was his fault.
So that's the leverage she's trying to use to get Yelena to sort of join their group. Is that, okay, you need to kill Hawkeye because he's responsible for taking out your sister. So that gets us wondering, like, what exactly is her plan here? And so far it looks like, they have a Captain America now with John Walker. I mean, I guess this would have taken place before she met John Walker. Yeah. And it was, we would have actually, this would have been the first appearance seing her in Black Widow.
But they pushed it back.
Because that had to get pushed back, so technically the first appearance was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then now she has her own, like, Black Widow for the group or whatever.
Which would be Yelena.
So we're going to do a video probably coming up next week where we'll talk about who else we think she is going to be recruiting as well.
Yes.
So stick around for that video. But in this one, we're going to mainly be talking about what we think she is up to and why. So why do you think she is recruiting these people? Why she's forming this, like, anti-Avengers group? Like, what do you think her motivation is?
For me, I just, I haven't read the comics, so I really don't know
I don't
much
know exactly
about her from
it's probably a lot different than what...
But... The movies do tend to vary from the comics anyways. I mean, if you look at even the Loki series, they combined the Enchantress with Sylvie or whatever their names were.
They take
and
a bunch
kind of put them together, or Lady Loki
and
the other person, like, put them together.
Right.
So really, she could be doing anything. And speaking of the Loki series, if you haven't seen it, spoilers, but there's the TVA and all that stuff. I think, personally, that Val could have some role in either the creation of the TVA or maybe she is the timekeeper and that's how she can get from one place to another. Either that or she has some kind of, maybe like Doctor Strange power where she can, like...
That's true, because she seems to be popping up...
A sling ring or something where she can teleport to different places.
She does seem to be popping up, like, at exact moments when someone needs, like... So she popped up to talk John Walker into, like... Because,
and she talked to
she does seem to have the ability to just know things. Like, she knows how he got Captain America... Or she knows that Captain America's shield... that was given to Falcon basically wasn't the real one anyways, because it was probably from another timeline stolen by Steve Rogers. And who knows, the old man Cap could be a different timeline Steve anyways.
Right.
But she somehow seems to know that, and she also knows that
what happened on Vormir.
Yeah, so that does seem to be some kind of supernatural thing. I don't know if it's connected to the TVA.
I mean, see, the way I think of it, like, she already knew what was going to happen, because this was meant to happen in the sacred timeline that they talk about all the time in the...
Okay, so going off of that theory, then, why do you think... Like, what purpose does she have for trying to create a new Avengers team from these people when she could just be taking them from different timelines?
I think the reason is because she, at this point in time, if this were to take place, say, as the same time as the Loki series, so like if the Loki series would be now,
right?
Then if you've watched Loki, you know that Loki's trying to take over the TVA and kill the timekeepers or whoever's actually in charge, and trying to destroy the TVA from the inside, basically. And so if Val does have something to do with the TVA, I think she's creating this team as kind of a defense, because if there's one thing she's learned from these different variants of Loki, it's that they could never beat the Avengers. So with the actual Avengers being disbanded, and with him having fought the Avengers so many times, the actual Avengers, he'll know their weaknesses and ways to beat them. You know, he'll know, like, Thor's weakness, or he'll know, like, Captain America's weakness or whatever. But if you get people similar that they haven't fought yet, then you have a new...
so you think it has to do with she's trying to defeat Loki, and the way to do this is
the Lokis.
Well, and her way of doing this is to get... Okay, I mean...
Right, and because there's multiple Loki variants from different timelines, each of them would have fought the different variants of Captain America and Thor and Hulk and all that.
That's true.
But who they wouldn't have fought was Captain Scamerica and Yelena Belova, and so.
I mean, I guess that is kind of. I mean, knowing Marvel, that's not really out of the realm of possibility, but that does seem like a far-fetched theory. I mean, especially since we have the last episode of Loki coming up next week, so I think it's going to be something. Or they're going to reveal something else for that.
But see, I think personally, theory. It would be really weird to introduce this whole TVA thing if they weren't going to make it a bigger thing, because you can't just have this confined to Loki.
Exactly. You have to show up more. It's like it's like
with
Sword,
and that's what I'm saying. So that's why I think because it's rumored that WandaVision will play a role in this. With Wanda looking for her kids in the. Through the different realms and stuff. So I think this will play a bigger role. Now, whether or not she's the head of the TVA, Val, or whether she's just a pawn basically working for whoever is in charge of the TVA, I think this has something to do with the Time Variance Authority.
I mean, I don't see them connecting, like... I mean, I like that the theory connects... the shows and the movies together, and I do like that they are actually doing that. They have her popping up in some of the shows and the movies to show that she is a big deal, and these shows are still important or do have some kind of important role in the MCU. I don't see her being connected to the TVA. In my opinion, I think this has something to do with she was wronged by someone. Like, maybe this is a sort of... Because she seems to be a sort of, like, Nick Fury type of person. Just like Nick Fury was doing in Phase 1 with all the Avengers. Like, he'd go to them individually and try to recruit them to the Avengers and everything.
Right.
She seems like she's doing that. Like, she's the Nick Fury of this group. She's trying to recruit these, like... people who hate the Avengers now, or have a reason to hate at least one of the Avengers, such as, like John Walker hates Falcon America, and or Bucky, I guess. And now she, Yelena would technically hate Hawkeye if she's convinced by, Val to go after him. So I think it's either she's trying to maybe like outdo Nick Fury, like prove maybe at one point in time she worked for Nick Fury or something, because I think in the comics she was a member of Shield at one time.
Well, I think
I
Shield
read
and
some things
Hydra
on.
or
I was
something
reading
like
about
that,
her
but,
online,
yeah.
and I think it said she was she worked like with Nick Fury in
Right.
Shield and everything in the comics. But I think like within the MCU, the thing they're gonna do is probably have her. She worked for Nick Fury, and then he either like kicked her out of Shield or something, or maybe she thinks she's better than him and she's trying to prove it by getting, look at my Avengers group, these guys are more powerful or whatever. Or it's some kind of revenge story similar to what Zemo had. He tried to break up the Avengers because they killed his family, so maybe it's something to do with maybe someone in her family was killed by a member or all members of the
Right.
Avengers or whatever. Or there's a third option. I think she could be working as like I guess the face behind like Thaddeus Ross. Like maybe he's trying to form the Thunderbolts and he's using her as like using her to go to places that he can't go to right now, or because he's doing other things or whatever. So like in the background, she's moving on his behalf to to recruit these people. So I think it's one of those things. Like maybe it's like a revenge plot, or she's just trying to prove she's better than. Like I can't really see any other reason, at least within what we know so far in the MCU, why she would want to form an anti-Avengers group other than to either like outshine the Avengers or kill off the Avengers, or and even if she's doing that. If she's trying to like kill the original Avengers, it's like, what reason is that? Like, it has to be some kind of like revenge plot. So that's what I think that's what this has to do with, is some kind of like revenge thing, or somebody like I said, like maybe somebody like Ross or some other person hired her to. We need to kill the Avengers so we can do some kind of other plot, whatever they're doing. And they need the Avengers gone, and the best way to do that is to manufacture their own government-sanctioned, essentially, Avengers team. Like John Walker, you already know he was government-sanctioned. They appointed him the new Captain America.
Right.
So, like, it's basically the Avengers they control. And now I think she might have also some kind of ties to Sword, maybe? Like, maybe Sword is evil because we saw Tyler Hayward. He was in charge of Sword in WandaVision, but he was also kind of evil. He had his own agenda. He was trying to recreate Vision and reprogram him to work for them. So in a way, that was kind of the start of this. Like, now we have an Avenger that we can control. And I think maybe that's what... Maybe Val had something to do with that. Because she can't be everywhere either, like I said, with Ross. So, like, maybe she appointed him to try and get Vision to work, and even try and use him to get Wanda to work for them or whatever. But that backfired, obviously. At least we think it did. White Vision flew off wherever. But so I think it's got to be some kind of thing like that. I mean, like, what do you think about that kind of theory?
I mean, it makes sense, and as of right now, they're both just theories. We honestly don't know.
We haven't seen
we
enough
will get
of
more
Val
information. If they had Val in WandaVision, and if they do have her in like Shang-Chi, and then whatever other things are coming out, then we'll probably be able to decide more of the route that they're going with this. But until then, with her only having 2 appearances in the MCU so far, it's kind of hard to tell, but it's really fun to theorize. I personally like both of ours.
Like we said, we will be talking about. We're gonna do another video for next week where we talk about who else we think she's going to recruit. In comparison to like who would be the like right now they have the Captain America and the Black Widow.
Who would be the Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, all of that.
So we're gonna get into that. So stick around to this channel if you're interested in that kind of theory, and let us know down in the comments section what you think of our theories for this particular video and this subject. What do you think Val is actually up to, and why is she recruiting these anti-Avengers? We'd love to hear your opinions down in the comment section as well. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.
Subscribe.